Hey, deserving listeners, Last Resort, 90-Day Fiancé. Let's watch.
It's been a rough day.
Well, let Joey start because I don't want to talk bad about my husband and about father of my child. So let Joey to start.
You can tell them what happened.
I don't want to.
Please?
I don't want to.
I don't want to talk about it, so if you would tell the situation, I think it's easier.
Yeah, this is a very frequent exchange in couple therapy at the very beginning. I mean, not super frequent, but I've seen it a lot, where the couple will be, they sit down on my couch and I say, okay, what's up? What do you want to talk about? And they do this exact thing. And there's a lot of reasons for it. Typically, what the reasons are that they don't want to fight. There's a part of them that doesn't want to fight. Also, they're burnt out and fatigued, and they don't have the energy to bring it up. They don't have trust that the other person will hear them, or even that they will have the ability to navigate what's happening. Also, often if it's a heterosexual couple, the man will just avoid and expect the wife to carry the burden of having to explain things. Not always the case. Certainly in a heterosexual relationship, the roles can be reversed. But I think that he's typically trying to avoid, and so he is trying to get her to talk. But I think from her perspective, she's thinking, why do I need to put myself out there? Why do I need to put effort into this when you're the one that made the mistake? You should be the one to carry the load this time. And she's, digging her heels in, and I think he's thinking, well, usually this works if I do this to you, but it's not working right now.
Please?
I don't want to.
Now, as a therapist, what I will do in a situation, because it depends, like if they say, oh, we got in a fight last night, but I don't want to talk about it, you explain it, then I might say something like, well, we don't have to talk about the fight right now. We could talk about something else. Do you want to work on something else? To just get them into some other topic. Or I might, even if I knew the couple well enough, I might say something like, so this happens sometimes in therapy, and you don't want to talk, so we either have to sit here in silence or talk about something else, but that seems kind of funny to talk. It sounds like this is pretty relevant. So when I run into situations like this, sometimes I will just take a guess, because I know the two of you pretty well, and I can maybe take a guess as to what happened in my words. Would you like me to give that a try? And they're like, yeah, sure. Someone else talk, yes. So then I might just speculate as to what generally would have happened. I wouldn't know precisely the fight, right? But typically couples will fight in a very routinized way, a very patterned, predictable way, including myself and my wife. When we have tension, it's very patterned. It has a very, the story beats are almost always the same. And for relational therapists, it's our job, and we're trained and we have experience in noticing those story beats and cataloging them, analyzing them, trying to work on them. So if a couple comes in and says, we had a fight last night, it's not hard for me to predict those story beats. So I might say that. In a situation like this, though, I might say, well, Jovi and Yara, you don't have to, but would you like to say anything? Because if you don't want to talk, that's totally fine. This is voluntary. We can move on to another couple, or the two of you could even just retreat back to your room if you wanted to, because therapy is voluntary. Now, this is a TV show, there's production, and I'm guessing that the therapist wouldn't offer that up, but that's what I would say.
So, last night...
Okay, so it worked. She effectively was like, nope, you're the one that made the mistake, so you carry the burden, and he did. So I guess that's good.
And I messaged the stripper that I previously knew. I don't know how to express that. Like, for us as the guys last night, we thought it was a fun time. But when I woke up this morning and realized what I did, I was very upset with myself.
Okay, so that's interesting. I don't remember seeing evidence of that in the morning, that he was upset with himself. He seemed upset. He was discounting her and dismissive of her and putting her down and avoiding her. But it makes sense. I might have even speculated that. I hope I did anyway, that he was upset with himself. He had a part of himself that was ashamed, and in his effort to avoid that shame or more shame was to do everything he could to just make it go away, which of course just makes the problem worse and perhaps the shame worse, which, you know, is a frequent consequence of our defenses. You know, if we're defending against more shame, and we cause ourselves to have more shame. So it's encouraging that he had that, and he's saying it, if that's true, that he did feel bad. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. If you're anything like me, your relationships are very important to you. And really, most of the reason why I make content, and perhaps a lot of the reason why you're here with me today, is to think about your relationships. And you know, evidence shows that strong attachments contribute to all sorts of positive outcomes, like improved well-being or happiness, lowered anxiety, lowered depression, better relationships with your kids. Now, one type of relationship that we're often talking about here is romantic relationships or soulmates. I would say that a huge factor in the success of my relationship with my wife has to do with all the therapy that I've been through. Well, one place you can find a therapist to help with that is at BetterHelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, it's definitely worth giving a try. So become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit betterhelp.com/Kirk today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Kirk.
I just don't know. I just don't want. This is just in public, and I don't want shame. It's the most familiar feeling which I ever feel.
Yeah, I wonder what that entails. I'm sure it's quite complicated and detailed, and of course the history there in our family as to where that comes from, or her society, or both, or whatever. But, yeah, I'm glad that she's able to verbalize that. I'm sad that she suffers from that. I think we could speculate, even from the things that we know about her, as to how the shame is defended against in some good ways and bad ways. And so they're bringing that up. Now, getting back to Jovi, he said he was really down on himself. Okay, well, why didn't you say that at some point? Now, that's defenses. So, you know, frequently on this show, we will see individuals that will do something bad and then they deny it. Jovi is a prime example of that. And it's tempting to look at those people and say, oh, they're jerk faces, and they are narcissistic and self-centered and psychopathic and da-da-da. But we all do a version of this. And the way that I see it is that it's not a matter of do you defend and deny. It's not a matter of that, because we all do. It's a matter of how quickly do you recover from that. How quickly do you return to differentiation and wisdom and acknowledge to yourself and then acknowledge to the other person that, yes, I did do that. It's not a matter of doing it right away. If you did it right away, then that's great. But typically we don't, particularly for big things where we've really harmed someone else or made a mistake in a pretty significant way. So he has recovered. It's the same day. I can't imagine how tired they are, by the way. I mean, they were at the strip club last night. He drank a lot. He wakes up hungover. They have this big fight. They go on that boat thing. That seemed like that went on for hours. He was drinking then too. And now it's evening time. You got to figure, like, they would, if it were me, I'd just be like, I'm going to bed. I can't. Even if I took it easy all day and the night before, I just, that's a lot of activity. So anyway, so I guess it's good. I don't know. I wish he would elaborate, because just saying that could be another version of him deflecting, of just like, okay, what do I need to say to get out of this?
Joey's behavior caused me shame and embarrassment.
And I do realize that Joey is the one who should be ashamed about all of this situation because he's the one who lied to me. But I do feel ashamed about all of this. I just don't want for people to call me stupid because my husband liked to go to strip club and prefer some other woman than me.
Yeah, I imagine that the shame is compounded by the internet and the observation of others. Now, maybe she's just referring to the other people in the room, but you have to know that Yara gets a lot of hate on the internet and on Instagram and whatnot. From my memory, I remember looking at their Instagram, or I think, and it looked like they were the kind of folks that try to post frequently and do that kind of stuff. So the comment section. Now, maybe she doesn't read the comments, I don't know, but it's hard to get away from all of the feedback that you can get from other people. So the amount of people that have shamed her for a variety of things, staying with him, she's stupid, also making fun of the way she looks, or shaming her for having procedures done.
I messaged the stripper that I previously knew that would upset Yara.
He's my husband. We have a baby together. I don't want to bring this up in public. It's just too much.
I must have said this at some point, but it's possible that he was doing it passively to harm her, hurt her feelings, because of the revelation that she had been taking birth control, and that hurt him or challenged his authority. And so he decided to express that anger through doing something that he knew would hurt her. It sounds like, at the very least, he just said, I did something I knew would hurt her. So then the question would be, well, why were you trying to hurt her? All right, well, let's adjourn there. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.